Welcome out to another special episode of Solver Trek 4. This time, we're talking about Star Trek Experience. You'll hear us talk about it. It was a cool thing that was around. We'll go into detail about it. We might talk about it longer than the actual program we watched, which often happens with us. We get going, we get going. It's a cool little thing. We're happy you're here. It's how special episodes go. That's what we do. It's all been Trek before. Also, make it extra special. Become a Patreon member. Patreon.com/IABD and make everything extra special in your Trek world. Star Trek Experience, it's all been Trek before.
Well, welcome out to a special bonus episode. It's all been Trek before. We usually do 3 bonuses. This is our 4th, so we'll make it quick, just short and sweet.
Yeah.
We found the Voyager DVD set, season 1 I had a bonus disc on it, where they reviewed Star Trek The Experience, kind of feature at the Las Vegas attraction that was opened in the mid-90s, I believe.
I think that's what they said, yeah.
I was 15 when I went, so I was born in 83, so that would have been 98. I think it opened like 95, 96, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You never got the chance to go, did you?
I still haven't, but
it's too late now. It's gone.
Oh, well, there you go. This just makes me want to do more of that kind of stuff. It was cheesy, but it still made me be like, oh, man, I wish I'd gone to that. I mean, it'd have been fun, and it seems cool. I know there's like, I thought about and I'm still thinking about it. I think the original bridge is up somewhere in New York. Yeah,
Yes.
upstate New York. I wouldn't mind. I'm always up for going to upstate New York where I was born. But
that'd be a great special episode for us to go up there.
Yeah.
I love that.
So I need to look further into that.
So I was looking at it. So they still have an annual big Star Trek convention in Las Vegas. That's like one of the big ones, if not the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm pretty sure that convention started while the experience was open,
and then they just
kept that going.
Yeah.
But I was looking at the Memory Alpha page, and said they started developing it in 1992 and it opened in January 98. So I would have been gone in July, I believe, that year. So it had been open like 6 months when I went. It was still new. It was still the Klingon version that we see in the video, but they were already talking in the video about redoing it for the Borg.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think when those Voyager DVDs came out in the early aughts, even though Voyager was airing in the 90s, the DVDs didn't come out right as the seasons, because DVDs still weren't a big thing for TV shows yet until like a few years later. I know they were coming out when I was in college, which was 2001 to 2005. So I don't remember when they redid it for the Borg. I was looking real quick. Yeah, I'm sure this is a giant Memory Alpha article, so I'm sure somewhere in here it tells you when they redid it for the Borg. But the Borg version was like they took out the Klingon theme to the ride and they made it a Borg Invasion 4D, which, I mean, the Klingon ride I think would already qualify as 4D, so I probably just reskinned it all. But that was open for at least several years before it closed. I'm not sure when it shut down in, let's see. Looks like it shut down in May 2009.
Okay.
And then they were going to reopen it in a mall in downtown Las Vegas that year, but it never ended up happening.
Oh, I wonder if that's because of the
new movie.
You would think with the movie coming out, it would be like
they were trying to get it going. Yeah,
I was thinking that was the big economic collapse was around then. So maybe that.
Oh, it actually closed in September 2008, but they planned to reopen in 2009, and then in 2011, CBS released a statement that it wasn't coming. So, yeah, 2000. It said Bob Picardo, the doctor from Voyager, was one of the actors included in the Borg Invasion 4D version. You saw in the Klingon version, they had included Jonathan Frakes and LeVar Burton. Yeah. I think that was it. Of course, they're on the screens because they weren't hanging around Vegas doing everyone.
They mentioned in there that, it'll be continuing to change, and they'll continue to change the exhibit, the history of the future or whatever they called it. I think that's what they called it, something like that, as it changes, which I thought was cool. And it's like, it seems like it's right to reopen with all the new material now, I know, like I said, we went through the housing crisis or whatever. So I know when I was out there around that time, there were casinos just unfinished, just sitting there, because just a bunch of cranes just sitting there. But it seems like it would have made a comeback, but.
I remember, and this was before Star Trek Experience closed, but there was a traveling version of it that I happened to be in London, England for band
Mhm.
tour my sophomore year of college, which would have been March 2002 or 2003, March 2003, right the day we declared war on Iraq was we
Oh,
left
yeah.
the next day. And I went to the Hyde Park. I happened to be in England. It was there
Mhm.
from December 2002 to April 2003. So I got to
Okay.
see that as well. It was only there for 6 months. And I just happened to hit it just right. And then they said it was moving to Singapore after that. I don't know what
Huh.
happened or if it went, but it was like they had the bridge recreated. They had like the museum parts. So it was a similar traveling, but I think it was the original series bridge on that one instead of next gen.
That's why, I'd love to get to
Yeah.
New York. I mean, that looked cool what they had there. I like the shuttle ride looked cool, even though I'm sure I would have got sick, or at least
Well, it
definitely
was
nauseous. I don't know if I would have thrown up, but I definitely would have got nauseous just looking at it.
so my dad had been traveling a lot for work at that point. He
Hmm.
had a job where they had him going out of town frequently, and he'd earned some free frequent flyer miles. And he said to my mom, "We should go to Vegas." And I said, "Ooh,
Uh-huh.
Star Trek: The Experience open. I want to go to Vegas." And they said, my mom was like, "Well, you have to take him now." My dad and I, the only trip we ever took, just the two of us,
Yeah,
because he and I went for 3 days in Vegas. We
yeah,
went to Hoover Dam. We drove out to Hoover Dam at one
nice,
point. We
of
walked the
course.
strip. We went to M&M World and
Yeah.
Coca-Cola World, and went to Star Trek. And I do remember he did go into one casino that had like topless dancers, and I had to just wander around outside while I waited for him.
Mm,
I was 15. He left me alone on the old strip downtown.
wow. Yeah, I don't know if it's better or it's probably better now. I don't know. I can't remember when the family, I think that was in the 90s when they tried to make it a family place. That didn't really take, although I went on Thanksgiving several years ago and there were a lot of families. There's more families than there used to be, but
I think when I went in the 90s, that was when they were doing the family push.
okay. I
Because
think the
it seemed
first
like there
time
was
I
a
went to
lot to
Vegas,
do.
I think the
Yeah.
first time I went to Vegas, we also went to the Hoover Dam. It's just, you're there. It's right there. You gotta go.
We did the whole
Especially,
hard hat tour of the Hoover Dam.
oh, nice. We didn't do
And
that.
it was right about the time National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation came out.
Oh,
And
wow.
so he was the guy that was our tour guide, was talking about he had been working with the film crew when they were there
Mhm.
filming with Chevy Chase. And he
Yeah.
showed us the one part of the movie where Chevy Chase opens the door and he's like hanging out over the dam. He showed
Uh-huh.
us that door and it was just a bathroom. It wasn't
Oh, that's
there.
hilarious.
There are no doors that open up over the dam like that, of course. But anyway, back to this exhibit. Yeah, so it was a combination of museum, ride, and shop, which was a
Hmm.
pretty good three-peat.
And
I know I
restaurant.
looked through the shops and everything was very
Yeah.
expensive. And I
Yeah.
got one like baseball jersey that said Star Trek
Yeah.
Experience. That was one of my favorite shirts I wore forever. But it was the baseball jersey style with a 3/4 or 2/3 length sleeves, the rag on
Yep.
or whatever. Yeah,
Did
button up.
did you get to go to the restaurant?
We did not. My dad was
Okay.
like, "That's too expensive. It's gimmicky.
Yeah.
Let's go eat the." Back then, you could get two steak dinners for the buffet for like $10 a piece. So
Yeah.
that's what we were eating
Yep.
well, and that
Yep.
was also like you buy one night at the hotel, get one free. We stayed,
Oh, there you go.
and we
Nice.
didn't stay in the main building. We stayed at one of the like
Yeah.
outbuildings behind it. But I think it was like $50, buy one night, get one free. It was super. That was back when everything was still super cheap because you were spending your money gambling. I know now the hotels and restaurants actually charge money, but back
Yeah.
then they didn't. That was like the end
Yeah.
of when they were still.
I guess it was before that. Me and my first ex-wife went to Reno in 94 and we stayed at Circus Circus for 2 nights and it was very, very cheap. And Circus Circus in Vegas, I'm sure is still very cheap. I don't want to disparage Circus Circus because again, I stayed there in Reno and then but the last time I was in Vegas and went to Circus Circus, I was on the table. I was on a blackjack table, and in the middle of dealing the hand, the dealer just whack kills a cockroach on the table.
Oh man,
Yeah, so this was probably 7 years ago, but yeah, there's a reason why it's cheap. But
it was one of the more rundown ones, even in the
yeah,
late '90s.
yeah, which makes me because the attraction of that place is they've got the circus, and we did it in Reno, but then when we were there in Vegas, we kind of peeked in, but it was like I, not to be quote unquote woke, but I was like, I don't know if I want to watch these animals. I I I, I was past the circus when I saw the stuff in Reno in the early 90s. I've just never been a circus guy, but yeah,
Oh, we didn't
it's
do
what it is.
anything in Circus Circus. We just slept there.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I think there was a roller coaster too, but we didn't do that.
yeah.
We mostly like walked through all the big casinos so we could just see what
Hmm.
Caesar's Palace and
Yeah.
MGM and all
Oh
those look
yeah.
like. And we walked the strip, and I remember it took forever to walk between casinos. It looked like they were close, but and it was July, so it was like 100 and some degrees, but it felt like 82, I swear, because you weren't
Yeah.
sweating with
Yeah.
the dry heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really wanted to go to Quark's Bar, but by then I wasn't in DS9 yet. It was still pretty new. I hadn't seen that many episodes. I watched it in college on DVD. So I wasn't like so gung-ho that I had to. The experience was cool. What I remember, you see a lot of this in the video, but they don't show you how it works, is I remember they take you into just a plain room and they say like, oh, something's going on wrong. And they turn off the lights and they blow wind past you. And when the lights come back on, you're in the transporter room.
Wow.
So like that wall like rotates or opens up,
okay.
and they're video screen walls, and they did have the sound, but because they can't do the tingly or whatever, they just blew air at you.
Yeah.
But then you look like you were in the Enterprise, which was cool.
Okay.
And then they ushered us on the turbo lift, guy in a uniform, like totally committing to the bit. What killed it is you go to the Enterprise D bridge, and they did not pay cast members to stay on the bridge. So everything was unmanned. And that was, and you see that in the video too, that it's like, man, if you could just pay a few extras to man the stations, this would sell it so much harder.
Yeah.
And then the view screen comes on, it's Riker. He's like, I'm down in the shuttle bay. You got to get down here. And we're like, okay, yeah, we're going to go see Riker. So we get the turbo lift, which is bigger than you see on TV, obviously, because you have to fit a group in it. But we get down there, and of course, Riker's not there.
Yeah.
And it looks like a ride. Like you line up behind the yellow line. You saw that bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it was just like a shuttle car that you get in, and obviously it doesn't look like the real interior of the shuttle because it's in rows. But when they close the door, it's a video screen on the front screen, and it actually moves and bobs around.
That's when I would have got nauseous. Yep.
And so they talk about like the Klingons kidnapped you from the future or from the past, and you're in the future now on the Enterprise, and we're gonna get you back. So you like go through a wormhole to go back in time, and then on the ride you actually are running from the Klingons. You see the Enterprise firing. You crash through the roof of the Las Vegas Hilton where the experience is and go crashing down through the hotel. And they say, oh, you've landed in the basement. Well, have a good day. And they open the door of the ride. And I remember very distinctly, there was a guy there with a broom, like sweeping, and janitor clothes going, how'd you get down to the basement? Let me show you the way back up.
I wonder if that's kind of inspired I know it's a convention, but in Galaxy Quest, when they crash through the end of the building. I know it's not.
It would have been right about the same time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if one came first or the other, or.
Yeah. They mentioned the transporter thing, so I was wondering about how they did that. That's cool. I mean, it
was pretty immersive. I think it would have been nice if they had a few extras. You saw this was cool. How many people they had in costume and alien loaf working this.
Yeah, I thought the guy playing the Ferengi was really good, and they, even the guy at the restaurant. It's Vegas. There's all kinds of people that get entertainers there that you get, you would think. So yeah, it would have been, I think you're right. It would have been cool to have people on the bridge. And I was surprised how deep it was, that it was Quark and Garrick were the names of the shop. So DS9 definitely had some cachet, and obviously with our people, if you will, Trek people, makes sense.
Yeah, it was, I really wish we'd done the restaurant. I wish we had, but if they just had a couple more. Well, you really want the bridge to be well staffed, so you'd need like at least 6 or 7 extras. And I guess they thought, well, you've got the guy ushering you to and from the turbo lift, you've got the guy on the shuttle or down in the shuttle bay, you've got the janitor, you've got the person in the transporter room. You don't want to staff it overly heavy, but that would have really sold it so much to have a few.
I like the, and again, it's cheesy, but that's what you want. You want it to be a little bit of cheese, because the guy who's like, come with me quickly, and he's just zooming. It's like, all right, you guys got to catch up to me, like whatever. There's an emergency. He's like, you can come with me, quickly. I like that touch. So that it
was pretty immersive. I mean, you could tell it was a ride. Even cynical 15-year-old, because teenagers are about as cynical as you get. I still really enjoyed it and thought it was. When I was like thinking it through, I'm like, okay, there are these little icing you could put on the cake, but it was pretty good. Like, it was not too cheesy. And the museum part was really interesting. I have a folder of photos, because back then you still took the disposable cameras and stuff. And I took a ton of photos of the museum part. I did not get them out to look at for today, but so many costumes, so many props. Obviously, we didn't buy anything from like the Admiral's store that had all the actual props, which was awesome.
Admiral?
But yeah, I'd say overall it was a really cool Star Trek experience.
Yeah.
I wish it was still around. I wish I'd gotten to go back when it was reskinned as the Borg, so I'd have the comparison. I don't take for granted that it was pure happenstance and luck that I was able to go to that. It was not like something I could consciously choose at that age. And then to also hit the Hyde Park thing in London a few years later, to hit both of those at that era was just really special.
I want them to reopen it with the Gorn, and Pike is on the screen this time.
I was thinking that nowadays when we've got Harry Potter World in Universal and Star Wars in Disney, one of these theme parks, I understand that Star Trek as a standalone theme park probably would not quite get enough traffic. But if one of the theme parks added, I wish Paramount had a theme park. I know they, for a while, they was part of Kings Island or whatever. And I do see Star Trek Experience was a Cedar Fair exhibit. So I don't think Cedar Fair owned Cedar Point yet at that part, but it was part of, or maybe they did, but they didn't have as many theme parks. So it was part of that. I really wish if you could add it to one of the Paramount.
My friend Caroline, actress friend, most of us we know. A friend of hers from college, he's like not exactly artistic director or entertainment director, but he's one of the top people, puts together the shows at Cedar Point. I wonder if I'm going to ask him if there's a phaser lying around or anything from 25 years ago.
I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong, I need to look this up somewhere, but I was pretty sure Kings Island had like people dressed as Klingons walking around at one point.
I think they did too, because they really leaned into their Paramount thing.
Yes. There was an area at Kings Island called Vulcan, which was inspired by the Star Trek universe. It was short-lived, and it had a Flight of Fear roller coaster. It looks like that was removed in 2009. The experience shut down in 2008. The traveling exhibit was slightly before that. So there was a period in the aughts, like when Enterprise was on, where they started to open up theme park stuff, and then they shut it all down like 15 years later.
I wonder if they just were like, hey, it's weird because the Kelvin Star Trek was just starting. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to clean the slate, but that doesn't make sense.
I feel like it all shut down right before Kelvin. So at that point, the TV got tired. Enterprise was off the air. There have been 4 or 5 years of no new Star Trek.
Yeah.
That may have been like, but yeah, nowadays it just seems like, I guess it depends if Skydance, the new owners, want to keep making Star Trek. But I don't know. I feel like also with streaming and stuff, people rewatch more than they used to. And I know DS9 does really well streaming, even though it hasn't done well enough that they're willing to shout for HD conversion yet. But Next Gen does well streaming. Original still gets watched. I just feel like there's some opportunity, and it doesn't have to be huge. Like this, one restaurant, one ride, and 3 gift shops, I think and a museum was what this was. Something like that would not be that big an investment. And I think you'd do well.
Obviously, I want to do the TOS stuff, but I'd love to do the Strange New Worlds and or Discovery Lower Decks kind of thing.
I think Strange New Worlds would be the most likely, maybe Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 most profitable at this point. So, well, it's not up to us. It's not our money. No. We don't have the cachet to make that happen.
Not yet.
When I win the Powerball this week,
that's it.
Maybe I'll take $200 million and do a small version of the exhibit.
I can win the Mega Million.
So, watching the featurette, which is what we're talking about here, I thought it did a really good job not giving away the secrets, but showing enough of what it was. Yeah. I think it didn't sell the museum enough and sold the gift shop and restaurant a little too hard. The ride was the perfect amount, and that's the biggest draw anyway.
But and maybe that's this is Vegas, so hey, you really want to get food and da-da-da, even if you are a Star Trek fan, maybe they're splitting the difference there, but
they had all the big ships hanging, and you got like a quick glimpse, and it's like, show us more of that stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, so you said it did make you want to go, though. I wish you could have gone.
Yeah, it did.
So, I think if we ever get a time machine, the 3 of us have, either one of the 3 of us have access to a time machine.
First, we kill Hitler. We go.
No. Hitler's third.
Okay.
Well, no, Hitler's fourth. First, we go back to 1966 and get on set and see them film.
3 more people to kill before that.
Yeah.
See them film the original. Then we go to Star Trek Las Vegas when it opens, like a couple months in, so it's not too crowded.
Sure.
Not like opening weekend. Then we go see it reskinned as the Borg.
Yeah.
So we get that. And then if there's time, we go kill Hitler. Because
let's
be honest,
that makes sense.
There's always the risk that if we kill Hitler, history changes enough that Star Trek never happens.
That
would really suck.
Good point.
If I knew killing Hitler would prevent Star Trek, I'd have to stop and think about it.
I mean,
I'm purely joking. I'm okay. If
it
anybody
probably
was
prevents
serious
City on the Edge
about
of Forever. So
there aren't many things that would be worth eliminating Star Trek from the timeline, but killing Hitler would be worth it. I admit.
Yeah.
But yeah. That was an over exaggeration of my enthusiasm. But yeah. I think those are some good historical things to hit while we still could.
I'm trying to think of what episode I would want to be there to see filmed.
Where No Man's Gone Before.
Yeah.
The first. I know
that's
not there yet, though. That's the problem.
No Man's Gone Before or City Edge Forever.
City.
Of course, I'm going to say it. Balance of Terror. It'd be one of those three, I think.
Ooh, or Tribbles, because by then Chekhov's there too.
Tribbles
I think you get everybody.
Yeah.
I think everybody was in Tribbles. All 7?
Yeah.
Was Sulu in it?
Yeah. I'm okay. Sure Sulu's in there.
I know you heard Chekhov and Scotty were in Tribbles.
Yeah.
Because if we can hit Tribbles, you get everybody. Because before season 2, the problem with City is you're not going to get the full cast. And you want the full cast.
That's a good point.
Roddenberry was still involved. Majel may have been hanging around set even if she wasn't in it. I know we miss Grace Lee Whitney if we wait that long, but I mean, ideally we make like 79 brief stops, right? We get hired as PAs and stay for 3 years.
We have a time machine. Can we're limited to 4 uses. It's like Guardian of Forever rules, like you got to come back.
Well, I was just saying, I don't know how many uses
you want.
Yeah, but if we did 1 to 1964 or 5 and get hired for The Cage and convince them to keep us around for 3 years before we get back in the time machine.
Actually, that's what I want to do because I want to meet Susan Oliver.
I want to meet Jeffrey Hunter.
Yeah.
But if we could work just as like stagehands or gophers or whatever, and then just stay in that era for 4 or 5 years before we leave in the time machine. You always think you go in for like a couple hours and then leave, but we could stay for a few years, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Star Trek: The Experience before we end this?
Rest in power. Gone too soon.
Oh, until then, we'll be back soon with Voyager Season 2. And we got 5 episodes of that before we start Deep Space Nine Season 4. So get excited for the 37s. And then we're going to get to the big Season 4 premiere DS9, which is a huge 2-hour The Way of the Warrior. It's awesome. Can't wait. Until then, live long.
And we mean live long. We got a long way to go and prosper.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?